What's up, Speak For Yourself listeners? It's your boy Shay Sharp, co-host of FS1's Undisputed. I wanted to tell you about my new podcast, Club Shay Shay, where we always do something before two something. Each week, I sit down with a guest for a drink and conversation, and as host and proprietor of Club Shay Shay, I've welcomed in esteemed guests such as Snoop Dogg, Floyd Money Mayweather, LeVar Ball, Isaiah Thomas, just to mention a few. Whether I'm talking to an athlete, a musician, an actor, or a lifelong friend, Club Shay Shay is a place where people share inspiring and motivational stories about their journeys to prominence. The new episode drops every Monday on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Subscribe to Club Shay Shay now and make sure you never miss a new episode. Now, back to Speak For Yourself.
Welcome to Speak For Yourself. Live from Memphis, Tennessee is the Swag Wars today over here. And we got Emmanuel Immaculate Acho.
It's been a good week for me, Sal. It's been a good week. I feel like I went 5 for 5.
Yeah. I missed one day? Oh, you may have missed one day, but it ain't today because you look better than me today. All right, let's get it started with two of the biggest names in football. Well, we're a little over a week away from the Super Bowl matchup between Patrick Mahomes and Tom Brady. Mahomes is trying to repeat as Super Bowl champion, and, oh yeah, he's only 25 years old. On the other side, Brady led his Bucs to the big game in his first season in Tampa. He said yesterday, quote, "As it's played out, I just thought, wow, this has really been a magical year." Thought he was in Tampa, not Orlando. Oh, sounded like he didn't. So, Acho, what would be more impressive, the Mahomes two-peat or Brady winning in his Bucs debut?
Fellas, ladies, Sal, people, everybody. What I love about this Super Bowl is because it's good on good. You feel me? Like at every position is good on good, from the teams that's good on good, but at the quarterback level, the quarterbackial level is good on good. So this is a very hard question to answer. More impressive. Two-peat or Tom Brady winning Bucs debut? I'm going to say the two-peat because what does winning a two-peat also imply?
I'm listening.
If you win the two-peat, that also means he would have won 26 out of 27 games. Bingo, impressive. That also means he would have been the youngest quarterback to win 2 Super Bowls. Beyond impressive. Yeah. That also means that Tom Brady's greatest feat thus far is winning back-to-back Super Bowls, 03-04. That is his greatest feat thus far. Pretty inarguable.
Okay.
That means Patrick Mahomes would have done that by year 4 of his career, like Tom Brady when he became a starter. So you already matching the GOAT's greatest as Patrick Mahomes. So what's more impressive, Marcellus, is the fact of not only would you have won yourself a two-peat, but you would have won the two-peat, gone 26 out of your last 27, would have 2 probably 2 likely Super Bowl MVPs. And think about this, big dog. You win back-to-back. That also implies Mahomes' career over right now after the Super Bowl. Hall of Famer. Tyrann Mathieu, more than likely, would be a Hall of Famer. Off them 2. Travis Kelce, Hall of Famer.
Okay.
Andy Reid, 2 Super Bowls now, plus one of the winningest coaches, Hall of Famer. Like, all the implications of the two-peat are way stronger than Tom Brady showing up and winning 1. Huge credit to Tom Brady. You making me pick between 2 greats, but I'm saying the two-peat is greater.
No, it's not greater than a guy who is 43 years old, not young, not 25 years young, 43 years old, going to a new situation and winning in his first year. Now, if you want to look at the list of quarterbacks that have won in their first year in NFL history.
I looked at it, Marcellus.
Dang, where the winners at? Where y'all at? Oh, Trent Dilfer, one and done, too, because they cut him right after that year. He wasn't there anymore. Let's not say Trent Dilfer. I'm looking. Nick Foles. Oh, he had to come off the bat.
As long as you said Nick Foles' name.
I'm going to say his name because his game ain't going to speak for his name. Guess what? Only one I see on this list potentially will be Tom Brady. Let me tell you why I'm so impressed. It's not just the fact that Tom Brady went to a new situation, had to learn the playbook by his virtual Zoom on his computer. Not the fact that he had to break into Byron Leftwich's neighbor's house and park in Rex to try to get the team together. Not all of that. It's just simple this. It's this simple. Winning in Tampa is harder to win in Tampa than it is in Kansas City. Look, the last 9 years of Tampa Bay football, 8 of those were losing seasons. Tom Brady went to a situation where there was no soil to cultivate. That was a 7-9 team that said that they were a quarterback away. But how many teams say that they're a quarterback away? And then they actually get the GOAT. They actually get the quarterback. And their fortunes changed immediately, at least in perception, including us. We all were starting to talk about Tampa Bay instead of an afterthought who Tampa Bay used to be. But look at this situation, as Tupac once said, the great late Tupac. The rose that grew from the concrete. Do you remember that? Do you know that song, that poem? In fact, when you look at it, without a foundation, wow, a rose grows from that situation. Looking at Tom Brady out there in Tampa, there was no soil. Jameis Winston lit the league up in terms of stats. And what did he get for it? Out of town. What did they get for it? Out of the playoffs. And then Tom Brady lands right there in that same situation and doesn't even know his teammates, doesn't know his coach. He has a worse coach than the coach you're talking about in Andy Reid, a worse situation than the situation you're talking about. I told you I'm going to testify today in my Memphis suit. Then you're talking about in Kansas City. And he still finds himself in the exact same position as Patrick Mahomes.
Marcellus Wiley, I have such great affection for you. I hope y'all can feel it through the camera, how much love we share.
That's my dog.
But when you love somebody, you call them out. When you love somebody, you lovingly correct them. It's time for me to lovingly correct you,
Coming up
big
at the top
dog.
of the hour.
What you about to say? I have issue with a couple things. Number one, how do you speak selectively of Tom Brady? Meaning, you talk about Tom Brady, he's 43 years old.
Yeah, it's mama and daddy did that, not me.
That doesn't matter.
Oh, it doesn't matter?
No, because when we talk about LeBron James, what do you say?
Yeah.
Don't bring up his age. What does age got to do with anything?
I do. For MVPs.
Not for this conversation. So I don't like how you do that. I also don't like, Marcellus, don't tell me it's harder to win in Tampa when all year long I've been telling you grade Baker Mayfield on a curve. That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say. Don't tell me about things being harder and places being harder when I told you, let's grade him on a curve, but you ain't want to. But now in this classroom, now you want a curve on grade.
I will retort later.
Anyway, let me get back to my point.
Yep, you got to do you, dog.
If and when the Chiefs win, think about Andy Reid moves exclusively into fourth place, most playoff wins of all time. Tom Landry, Bill Belichick, Don Shula, and Andy Reid. Andy Reid, just yesterday, big dog, he couldn't sniff his way onto that list. 11-13 in the playoffs, and now look at him. Now look at Andy out here about to be fourth all-time winning us in the playoffs because of Patrick Mahomes, because of 2 consecutive playoff runs.
That ain't all Patrick Mahomes. He was winning in the playoffs even with Alex Smith. He just didn't win a Super Bowl.
Without Patrick
Okay,
Mahomes,
don't give me that.
He was
Winning.
11-13.
Okay,
is that over 500? No, sir, it is not.
No, it's not.
With Patrick Mahomes, I believe he's about 6-1, 5-1. That is well over 500. Again, when you and I are deducing this, is why I love doing the show with you, because we think a little bit deeper than most. When you and I are deducing this, it's not just, okay, you won the game, but in winning the game, what happened? What happens? If the Chiefs win the game, there's such a bigger domino effect for everybody around Patrick Mahomes, I think, than there is for Tom Brady. That wake isn't as great. But it's not as great as the Patrick Mahomes way.
Are you kidding me? I mean, one, this is going to change the entire city in terms of their esteem. Think about
They live in Tampa. They already lit.
You go to Tampa because it's already over, and you're going to retire and say, all right, my best days are behind me. Tom Brady goes to Tampa and says, my best days are in front of me, and he's 43. Come on, big dog. The only reason I bring it up in this conversation is because it's binary. Impressed. Now, if you give me a LeBron conversation versus a Luka Doncic conversation, then I'm going to start talking LeBron's age. But if not, if you're just talking about the objective standard of winning the championship, it's a little different conversation. I'm looking at this as simple. He's the first quarterback, and this is the first team to have a home game for the Super Bowl.
That's dope.
Is that dope? Is that dope? Especially when you weren't even in the playoffs last year. They weren't. They're not the Chiefs. They're not Super Bowl champions trying to repeat, and the Super Bowl's in Kansas City. No, this is a team that wasn't even in the playoffs. Then you get the old man who people were saying was in decline, and then next thing you know, he's having a home game for the Super Bowl. I'm not done with that. Let's look at the fact that he's going to become the second quarterback in NFL history to win a Super Bowl potentially with 2 different franchises. Like, the list is just shorter. You give me a list of quarterbacks that won back-to-back Super Bowls. I give you 8 names. You give me a list of those who won a Super Bowl in the first year with a team. I only give you 2 names. That's why he's in rare air in terms of this conversation. For me, this is not even an argument. This is an appreciation.
Yeah.
Like, yo.
Yeah.
It's amazing what you're doing, Patrick Mahomes, and we know there's a lot of runway in front of you. But when people told Tom Brady there's no runway in front of him, he switched that airplane to a helicopter. He said, forget all of that takeoff. Straight up, let's go Bucs. And they're at home doing this, something that's never been done before.
That's good. Let's not argue. Let's appreciate.
Yeah. Let's
appreciate. I'm going to appreciate Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs also for this reason. The NFL has shown us they catch up to you fast.
Yeah, that's
You
real.
think you ahead of the game,
That's real.
light years ahead of the game. Before you know it, playoffs come, boom, they caught up to you. You think you're ahead of the game, light years ahead of the game. Before you know it, next season, it caught up to you. Lamar Jackson and the Ravens.
Oh, thought we weren't going to argue. You going to bring up my favorite? My boo? Right here for the everybody? Okay, go ahead. Talk your talk.
Lamar Jackson and the Ravens, light years ahead. They got caught up too.
Greg
but when
Roman.
you think about, Greg Roman.
Again.
Got caught up too.
Greg
But when
Roman.
you think about Patrick Mahomes, 26, 27 straight games, they still ain't been caught up to. If you want to say Mahomes got caught up to, because 50 touchdowns his MVP year, and then 26 touchdowns last year, you could say he got caught up to if you want to say that.
Yeah.
But the Chiefs still ain't been caught up to. That in and of itself, impressive, big dog. You go 12-4, Patrick Mahomes. You backdoor, you go, I think, 11-3 because he missed some games last year. And now you go 14-1. As great as you are, you're still distancing yourself from the rest. You know this because we talk track and field. In track, everybody thinks when you see sprinters run that they're accelerating through the line the whole way.
Boy, stop.
They're not.
No.
At about 70-meter mark, you start to decelerate. So when you see runners begin to distance themselves, it's not actually who's getting faster, it's who's slowing down
I love it.
at a slower rate.
Yep.
So Patrick Mahomes is still somehow miraculously with these Chiefs, as great as he's been, 11-3 last year, now 14-1 this year, still distancing himself from the pack en route to a second consecutive Super Bowl appearance. That's got to be more impressive, Sal.
It's not. It's super impressive, uber impressive, next level. And then there's Tom Brady and what he's doing. Think about this. Tom Brady is not sitting there getting caught up in wins and losses, even though everyone cares about them, because he knows he has an ultimate goal. And Tom Brady is not the show card that you pull out the trailer and say, I'm at the car show, take a look. He the one that you hear backfiring on the way. Pop! Tire leaking. Barely getting there, you sometimes would think, what down is it in Chicago? What are you going to do against the Saints? Again. And then all of a sudden you look at it, he gets first prize in the show every time because he knows how to clean it up when it matters most. He knows when to protect the ball, when to take those shots. We got to talk about his turnovers because there's a conversation about the complexity of his turnovers. Everyone just thinks, he threw 3 picks. Actually, he threw pseudo punts, if you want to get into that conversation. But why am I more impressed with Tom Brady? Because he went to a situation where guys didn't even play better. He just said, look, let's be greater than what we were. Greater is different than better. Patrick Mahomes is just better than Tom Brady right now as a quarterback. If you told me who pick one, I'm picking Patrick Mahomes. But when you say, who do I trust? Who has done more with maybe less? That's a track team with football pads on in Kansas City. That is a better roster, all in all, than it is in Tampa Bay. Oh, you want to argue this?
Yeah, we might have to go argue this.
Okay, let's start here. Who has the better quarterback?
Chiefs.
No at us. No at us.
Let's get to receiving core.
Okay, huh?
Let's get to
receiving core.
You got to say the Bucs.
You got
to say the Bucs.
You got off of what?
2,000-yard receivers last
but
year.
Godwin only had one of those in his whole career. Think about it. Like
2,000. Yeah, y'all gonna rock
How many
with
he
us.
got? How many they got?
He had Mike Evans.
Keep going.
Chris Godwin.
Who's the best of all? Let's start. Who we drafted one? Tyreek.
Mike Evans? You want Tyreek over Mike Evans?
I mean, by production, it's Mike Evans. All right, so let's neutralize it.
Okay.
All right. What about tight end then? Oh, stop. We ain't gonna talk about that. Because of Kansas City again, right? Offensive line. Let's not talk.
Defense.
No, head coach. Come on.
I'll give you Andy.
Oh, you give me Andy? I think everybody gonna give me Andy. So let's go defense.
Defense, you got to go Bucs. Through and through.
Who's
Bucs
better on the D-line? Let's start up front.
Jason Pierre-Paul is better than Chris Jones? Jason Pierre-Paul, Shaq Barrett. Shaq Barrett led the league in sacks last year. Shaq Barrett led the league in sacks
this year because Tom Brady wasn't there last year. See how you get me? See? That's what I'm not going to play with you. Hey, all I'm saying is secondary. It gets quiet.
Yeah,
it gets quiet. So they got look. It's okay. They're like this, but there's a
like
little
this.
edge. Yeah. If I say Acho, you got to be on one team. You're gonna say Kansas
But let me ask you this. If you put I know you hate doing this. I'm sorry, America. He hates doing this. I'm gonna make him do this. Patrick Mahomes, if you put him on that team with Antonio Brown, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Ronald Jones, Leonard Fournette, Rob Gronkowski, come on, big dog. Come on, big. They would all be Hall of Famers in their fourth year.
They wouldn't even lost the one game this year. I get that. But that's the beauty of Tom Brady. That's why it's more impressive. He's not walking through the door, as Coach said, with all those muscles scaring us off the bus.
That's real.
You know what I'm saying? He's not the one that you're just going to sit there and say, he got me already mentally, and then he's going to dictate turns physically. That's Patrick Mahomes. That's the Chiefs. But still, as great as that is for them as ammunition and fuel, who's right there looking them right in their eyes? A team that is just a little less than, with a quarterback much less than, and they're still in the same position. I'm more impressed with the one that had less than. Coming up at the top of the hour, Hall of Famer Jimmy Johnson joins us. What? Look at us. We'll ask him if this is Tom Brady's most impressive Super Bowl run. Of course, he'll agree with me. But first, Baker Mayfield clapped back on social media again. We'll tell you if we love or hate it. Next, speak for yourself. Hey, Speak for Yourself listeners. I wanted to tell you about our brand new Fox Sports app and website, foxsports.com. Reimagined for the modern sports fan. Go ahead, download the new app now. You don't even have to pause this episode. Every day on the new app and website, you'll see the top stories in sports, plus a rich world of written content, videos, social media, and analytics to give you a 360-degree view of the most important stories of the day. Streaming live TV has never been so easy or elegant. Every Fox Sports game, including all pregame and postgame shows, are just one click away. For the extra invested fan, we also go deep with real-time wagering lines, trending prop bets, win probability, and key player projections. So download the new Fox Sports app or visit www.foxsports.com.
Welcome back to Speak for Yourself. My guy, Baker Mayfield, helped lead the Browns to their best season since 1994. But that's not enough for some members of the dog pound, I guess, because Deshaun Watson's recent trade demand has piqued a lot of interest amongst football fans, including in Cleveland. Now, Browns blog posted, quote, "The Cleveland Browns need to think about Deshaun Watson," close quote. But Baker Mayfield, the one and only clapback king, he clapped back with an okay emoji and added, "Some of y'all Browns are funny." Good old Baker Mayfield. First thing first, can we get that full screen back?
You want that back?
I need to look at that full screen with Baker Mayfield.
It's coming. You know us. We got Wi-Fi issues.
Did you interpret this as an okay? Because word on the street, some people interpreted this as a Steph Curry making a three-pointer celebration emoji.
Oh, man, look, I go deeper than that. Like, I'm from L.A., and we know in L.A. you can't be throwing that up. I'm trying to live growing up in L.A. with all that and all that. That's death on sight. But, no, I knew it was the okay emoji, and some of the NBA players use it for three-pointers, and some of them are from L.A., and they use it for different things. But we ain't going to get into
Just so y'all know, the world doesn't revolve around the NBA, okay? It's football talk right now.
Let's do it.
So, Marcellus,
okay.
Do you like or love or hate Baker Mayfield clapping back at Browns fans?
Acho, you know me. You know I hate this.
I do.
I hate this for so many levels. Let's frame this.
Yes, sir.
Let's just give this perspective of why I hate this. One thing that Baker Mayfield fails to understand is criticism is the cost of praise. Oh, yeah, that's a bar. I heard about it. Yeah, you know what? If you want to climb up the mountain, there's going to be atmospheric pressure pushing against you every step.
I got to tweet that. Tweet that. Criticism is the cost
of praise. If you don't want people to hate on you, as the people say on Twitter, then don't do anything in this world. People won't hate on nothing, but they will hate on something. And Baker Mayfield, you've done something in this NFL. But he doesn't understand that in terms of perspective. You want to quiet all the haters? You want to quiet all the critics? You can't. It's impossible. You can try and play better and play as great as you want. Tom Brady still has haters, as they said. People still hate on Jesus. So, you know what I'm saying? They're going to hate on Baker Mayfield. You still don't have that in framework perspective. Okay, let's think a little different. So now you don't understand the rules of engagement, the rules of the game. Let's talk about who you are. Are you a franchise quarterback? Because this certainly isn't franchise quarterback behavior. This is guy at the end of the bar that could throw a football behavior. Like, dog, pass me another one, double. Like, this is how you respond when you're that guy. But you're Baker Mayfield with a suspect resume. Let's be real. Your resume is a roller coaster ride. And then this is what you want to come out of your mouth. This is what you want to come out of your tweets. This is what you want to be associated with your brand, is responding to the fan base. The fan base is there to support you, Baker. They're not sitting there trying to be antagonized by a questionable franchise quarterback. So if you're mad at the franchise wanting the best quarterback for their squad, then you should look in the mirror, because that's who you're really mad at.
Come on, Sal. Okay, I was with you, but then you went too far, big dog.
I ain't done. You really ain't
Calm
gonna
down.
be with me.
Calm down.
Okay.
I don't like it, Baker Mayfield, but I don't like it because, Baker, you a clapback king, coach. Remember in college, he grabbed the whole thing, you know what I'm saying? Say, hey, you know what I'm saying? Got suspended for doing it. Remember in the NFL, cussed out a reporter, dropped the whole F-bomb on his head.
I got it.
What kind of effing question? Cussed out a whole reporter.
Oh, I got a list.
Baker Mayfield, if you gonna clap back, clap back. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If you gonna clap back, clap back. Don't clap back with this little, some of y'all Browns fans are, I don't like passive-aggressive clap back. Like if I'm in an argument and if I ask you what's wrong, nothing wrong. Tell me what's wrong. Let's go. So that's my real issue.
Good
like,
point.
Don't be passive-aggressive, Baker. My second issue is, Baker, you're beyond this.
Thank
you. Know
you.
what I'm saying?
I
Like,
thought.
you're beyond
Or
this.
is he?
Baker.
Or is he?
He is. Or Baker. You're safe, big dog.
Is he?
You're safe, Baker. Let me tell you what you've done, Baker. Let me tell America what you've done, Baker. First playoff win since 1994. First playoff appearance since 2002. First 10-win season since 2007. Baker Mayfield, let me tell you what you've done, big dog. You safe. So, Baker, once you're safe, you don't have to address this. What do they say? Lions don't concern themselves with the opinions of sheep. Baker Mayfield, you a lion. Don't concern yourself with the opinion of a dog in the pound. You a lion, Baker.
He's a lion?
He's a lion.
Or is he a dog that look like a lion? What kind of dog looks like a lion? Tweet me that, y'all, people, because I've seen some dogs that look like other animals, but I'm like, you ain't nothing but a dog. Looks like the guy at the end of the bar to me.
I don't know, dog.
You know what's so funny about people in this world, and today especially? Because everything is really being transmitted by ourselves as the author. As you just tweeted what I said, right? Now, all of a sudden, my quote that I stole from somebody becomes your quote that you profess. And people look at you like you're smarter. You're a regurgitator. But you know the beautiful thing about this is, and this is the sad part as well, it's right there in the same thing. Baker Mayfield can create a narrative, a perception of himself that we will buy into if he were consistent with that same portrayal. But you know what's funny? You can't be consistent when you don't believe in what your messaging is. Baker Mayfield can say what he wants on Twitter, say what he wants on Instagram, play up and down on the football field. But when he looks in the mirror, that's where the signal is the purest. And that's why Baker Mayfield still can't get to a point where you're bigger than that. Because he know damn well when he look in the mirror, he ain't bigger than that. Want to know why? When he hears Deshaun Watson's name, it hits him. Look, if I said Blake Bortles to Baker Mayfield, he wouldn't even respond.
That's real.
Right? If I said Case Keenum to him, he'd be like, man, stop. But if I say Deshaun Watson, hey, you know why? Because Deshaun Watson got you in completion percentage, bro. Got you in passing yards per game by a lot. Touchdown interception ratio, passer rating, smoking him. Wins and losses, smoking them. Playoff appearances, 2-1, beating them. Pro Bowls, 3-0. 4,000-yard season, 4-0. The point is, Acho, I could talk to you all day about how Acho is 30 for 30. I saw you on the Forbes list and best-selling author, all that. But then look at your face when I bring up like Michael Strahan or something. Then you be like, hey, man. What? And I could come down the ladder a notch or two.
Don't come too far down.
Not too far because you're right there. You're right there, but you ain't there. And that's what Baker Mayfield just told us. When you hear Deshaun Watson's name,
But
he ain't there.
Sell.
What?
Can we be real, man? Sometimes men are insecure.
Oh, definitely.
Specifically football players, big dog. I'm going to get y'all to my expertise and experience in a second, but I'm going to come back. Baker, don't let him see you sweat. The issue really, Sel, with why I don't like it is, Baker, for a second, you let them see you sweat. Everybody has a crack in their armor. We all do. But Baker, don't let them see that you got the crack in your armor. You the king. King, you got to roar. And when you roar, everybody knows what it is. So if you're going to roar, roar. But not like this, Baker. Here's the other thing. I'm going to give you the ounce of why I love it before I get back to why I hate it. The ounce of why I love it is, if you don't tell people to respect you, sometimes, Marcellus, they won't.
That's real.
Sometimes, like, you have to demand your respect.
Through actions.
Correct.
Would be the best.
Oftentimes through actions, further than words. But, like, Baker got to let y'all know, like, hey, y'all funny, man. 20 quarterbacks before me have tried. 20 before me have tried.
In one place.
In one place. You got Brandon Weeden, you got Colt McCoy, you got Robert Griffin, you got a litany of quarterbacks who have tried, and yet I have succeeded. And y'all finna bring up Deshaun Watson. Don't let them see you sweat. But, man, we do sweat, big dog. Sal, you know I'm going to tell you. You know, you mentioned the name Michael Strahan. I got another Michael for you.
Hey, hold on. When you say Strahan name, make sure it echoes because it's that far away from you, way up there.
You mentioned the name. Yeah, but Strahan about 45, 46. Give me 15 years, big dog.
You got him.
You're going to see.
Keep me with you,
But I'm not about that Michael right now, okay? Again, in previous relationships, I was walking in the old lady's house one time.
What? Hold on. You and them old ladies.
Figure of speech.
What you mean? Oh.
Figure of speech, America.
Okay, literally.
And I see a magazine cover. It's Michael B. Jordan laying there. Michael B. Shirtless Michael B.
My daughter
Jordan.
love that dude.
Shirtless Michael B. Jordan on the cover of Essence or something. And I'm sitting there. I take the magazine cover. I turn it upside down.
Insecure as
heck. Because I'm looking at me. And I'm looking at Michael B. He just finished shooting Black Panther, had the little thing, shirtless and whatnot. You know me, I work out, Marcellus. I work out. But Michael B., he had me beat at that moment.
At that moment? Is that this moment? Because he had you beat forever so far.
And so I say this to say, Sal,
what?
Men are insecure. Baker, insecure. Don't let them see you sweat. That's it. Just don't let them see you sweat.
Man, that commercial old as hell. Don't let them see you sweat. Baker didn't watch it, obviously, because he's still letting us see him sweat. No. You missing the boat on this one. It's not just that Baker's insecure. We all are insecure. I have insecurities as well. I don't know what they are because people say I'm always right. You know what? You're right. That's how I look at it. Like Kanye said, Baker has a ghetto mentality. Ghetto mentality. And you know what a ghetto mentality really is about? It's when you have little to nothing, you make everything bigger and greater than it is. That's what a ghetto mentality is. And it's not about color. It's not about race and ethnicity. No, if you guys know history, ghettos can embody anybody. But if you're within these borders, sometimes what permeates is a mindset, which is this thing can trigger everything.
That's real?
If you ever been where I've been, you would know what I'm talking about. And Baker Mayfield has that mindset. This was just a fan base basically asking the question, should we be interested in a quarterback that is better? And you took notice and attention and was disturbed by that. The only response, the proper response for Baker Mayfield would be, I'm getting to work to be better than the guy they think that is better than me. When you're Baker Mayfield and you're 29th in NFL completion percentage and 26th in passer rating since you were drafted, you ain't got time to be sitting on Twitter. You got time to be in the lab cooking up a better experience for you on the field.
Yes.
That's my issue with
Baker Mayfield is doing what I am doing now. Before the show, I'm in the gym. I'm on my jump rope. I'm working out because Michael B. Jordan, I'm coming for People's Sexiest Man Alive next year. My only other second point, Marcellus, is this. I'm a man of my word.
You don't want to work for that?
I said I was going to tweet my boy, and you know what I did while you was talking, big dog. I had to tweet, and I had to shout you out because I put your quote in context. I attributed it to you. Criticism is a cost of praise. My dog, Marcellus Wiley. Make that into a Wileyism, please.
Thank you.
Please.
No plagiarism this time.
No,
finally.
not this time. Next segment. Coming up,
My dog.
Tom Brady and Super Bowls, they go hand in hand.
Yeah.
But we'll tell you if his experience will be enough to beat the Chiefs. I doubt that. Next, speak for yourself.
Give yourself 5 years for People Magazine.
I'm hot right now.
Hey, Speak for Yourself listeners. It's Charlotte Wilder here to tell you about my new podcast with Mark Titus called the People's Sports Podcast. It comes out every Thursday, and Mark and I take one of the big stories of the week, and then we go off on tangents you never saw coming. This might mean that we start talking about the Dodgers winning the World Series and end up wondering if Knicks fans deserve happiness. Or begin with LeBron's greatness and end up drafting our ultimate beer league softball team made up of old athletes. Whatever it is, the only rule of the show is that it has to be fun and funny, because these days we could all use as many laughs as we can get. So check it out wherever you get your podcasts and come down weird sports rabbit holes with us. We can't wait to have you. Now, back to Speak for Yourself.
This Saturday on FS1, WWE Backstage is back for a Royal Rumble special. Renee Young, WWE Hall of Famer Booker T, and Paige host a preview for one of sports entertainment's most exciting nights with exclusive box guests and interviews. Plus, 2 huge announcements. Who will start the Women's Rumble match and what man enters at number 30. Find out on WWE Backstage. This Saturday at 8/7 Central on FS1.
WWE Backstage returns for a Royal Rumble special tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern on FS1. Tune in to see Renee Young, WWE superstar Paige, and Hall of Famer Booker T. I saw him in the weight room recently as they revealed the coveted 30th spot in the Men's Royal Rumble. Let's get back to the NFL with Tom Brady. The GOAT has been to the Super Bowl, more than any other player in NFL history. You want to rumble? But despite this being his 10th trip, Brady downplayed the experience factor yesterday, saying, quote, experience doesn't matter. Playing well matters. The team that wins is not going to be the most experienced team. Ooh, Sacho. Will Tom Brady's experience be enough to beat the Chiefs?
Bruh, experience only matters if other people can benefit from your experience or if other people have the experience that you've experienced. So no, Tom Brady's experience will not benefit the Chiefs.
Got you.
It only matters if other people can benefit from your experience. Look at it, Marcellus. You got 6 players on the Buccaneers roster that have played in a Super Bowl. 4 have won a Super Bowl. You got 33 players on the Chiefs roster that have played in the Super Bowl. 31 have won a Super Bowl. For y'all counting at home, active rosters are 53 in typical seasons. So that's a lot. 3 out of 5 right there. 60% of the Chiefs roster, when they jog on that field, we've been here before. We've won here before. The Bucs, meanwhile, it's like, Tom Brady's been here. Think about it, y'all. Like, Tom Brady's experience isn't going to help Leonard Fournette catch the ball in a pivotal moment.
Nope.
Tom Brady's experience isn't going to help Chris Godwin catch the ball in traffic. Nope. It's not going to help Mike Evans go up and get that jump ball with the game on the line. Now, I'm not saying that they need help. I'm not going to absolve them of their natural abilities. But what I am going to say is Tom Brady's experience is nice in a huddle. It's nice in a 2-minute drill. Got to go march down the field. It will definitely help him. But I'm not convinced it'll help anybody else.
I'm with you there. Brady said it best. He said experience doesn't help you win. What does? Playing well. And you know why? Because when you talk about experience, and you just showed the chart showing the disparity in their experience. But the experience just gives you a sense of confidence and calm through the preparation process, all the way up until game time. And we know, as Russell Wilson loves to declare, preparation is the separation. But what about the guys who are not unnerved by the preparation process of the Super Bowl? Let's talk about the guys that John Wooden would say, too, if you want to win big games, do the little things. That's how you win a big game. So whether you have a Tom Brady in the locker room telling you, study more, maybe you're getting a little ahead of your skis, because what did you study to get to this point? It's the confidence you need to have to go through this game. Now, here's the funny thing about any moment of truth, because that's what we're really talking about. The play, the actual performance on the field. Like, you can have all the bulletin board material, you can have a roster fully prepared, but that gets neutralized because the other team is fully prepared and confident as well. What happens in that moment? And I'm going to give you a moment when Brian Waters, the great Brian Waters, next to Willie Rofe and those Kansas City Chief linemen back in the days when I played, Brian Waters decides to pull on a play because that's what they said to do on the play. But he knew we had a safety in Rodney Harrison who didn't care who you were, what size you were, etc. And Brian Waters, the great Brian Waters, came around that corner, and Rodney Harrison said, "Welcome to the Terror Dome." Yeah, I heard a sound that I haven't heard since I crashed my Ferrari at 130 one time on the freeway. Yeah. I was like, it scared me out of my pads. Like, I was like, do I have to play after this? And I don't know who won the battle. I know Rodney was pumped. We were were pumped. Brian Waters still felt good, but he also took notice. He ain't no punk. Guess what happens in a football game? That about 60, 70 times, like moments of truth. Are you going to answer the bell? And Tom Brady framed it perfectly. It's about how you play, how you answer that bell, how you perform in those moments of truth. Got to bring in Fox NFL analyst Bucky Brooks. So, Bucky, will Tom Brady's experience be enough to beat the Chiefs?
Only if Tom Brady's going to backpedal, because that's not the problem that the Buccaneers have. I just don't know how they're going to slow down this offense, because we've seen this movie before. Number 10 and number 87, they are unstoppable. Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce, they have been lighting it up. And with Patrick Mahomes playing at a high level like he has, man, like all the onus is on Tom Brady to get this offense going. But I just don't know if they can beat the Kansas City Chiefs in a shootout. In the Super Bowl, it really comes down to the most talented team typically wins. And unless the Kansas City Chiefs mess this up by turning the ball over, by blowing assignments, really this game is the Kansas City Chiefs game to win. I just don't know how Tom Brady's experience plays a part in that. Maybe he can talk to Todd Bowles and help them come up with a scheme to slow these guys down. But his experience and the fact that he's been to, this will be his 10th Super Bowl, has little to do with what is going to take place next Sunday.
Bucky Brooks, I think you're exactly right. I think you got to remember the Buccaneers, their defensive backs, the people that are tasked with stopping Patrick Mahomes, all of their starting defensive backs, all 6 of them, if you include some of the primary backups in year 3 or younger. Like Tom Brady, your experience means a lot, but it only means so much. Also, you have to remember Carlton Davis, the dude that was tasked with covering Tyreek Hill the first time, if you want to call it that. Tyreek Hill was 9 for 9, 211 yards and 3 TDs. But if you took nothing else away from this whole segment, these last 9 minutes, I hope you were keeping track at home. Can I see Bucky Brooks, please?
Uh-oh.
I hope they're keeping track at home. Bucky, if I'm keeping count right, Marcellus has now mentioned 2 Bentleys, 1 Rolls Royce. I know. 1 big boat slash a yacht.
I didn't have a Bentley.
And 1 Ferrari. If you keeping track at home, that doesn't count the 3 Teslas he currently has. But I ain't keeping track. I ain't keeping track.
Hey, get out my pockets. Get your hand out my pockets. And I ain't had no damn Bentley.
Hey, coming up.
Had a Rolls Royce.
Hall of Famer, one of the best coaches the game has ever seen. That's legendary Jimmy Johnson. He joins the show. We'll ask him if the Cowboys should consider moving on from their star quarterback, Dak Prescott. Can't wait for that one. That's next. Speak for yourself.
Ice. Speak for Yourself is brought to you by Michelob Ultra. 95 calories and 2.6 grams of carbs. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. Our next guest will be someone we definitely enjoy having on Speak for Yourself. 2-time Super Bowl winner and Hall of Famer, Fox's own family, Jimmy Johnson. Coach, let's get it started with the Super Bowl. Almost a week away from Tom Brady's 10th Super Bowl appearance, but his first in a Tampa uniform. Is this Tom Brady's most impressive Super Bowl run?
Well, I don't. You guys may disagree with me, but I think his most impressive run was when he had Randy Moss. Now they didn't win the Super Bowl, but they were a great team, back then. I think this is impressive because it's with a different team. But you look at this team, their success. They've got great receivers. Todd Bowles done a great job with that defense. So the supporting cast is a lot stronger right now than what he had in some of his previous runs.
Coach, let me ask you this. What is the hardest part about going back-to-back and winning back-to-back? Because that's what the Chiefs are trying to do now. You know the secret. What is it?
Yeah, I've talked to Brett Veach, general manager, and Andy Reid about it. In fact, I talked to Belichick about it after his first Super Bowl. After you have that kind of success in the Super Bowl, you go back and every player wants a new contract. Every secretary wants a raise. Every assistant coach wants a head coaching job somewhere. And so it's all about me, instead of the team. Now, the one thing the Chiefs have done, and they did in the offseason, some of those players took some team-friendly contracts to stay with that team to try to keep it together. So they've addressed that. The other thing, the second thing, is complacency comes in. You look at it, I remember my running back coach, Joe Brodsky, Emmitt Smith had held out for a couple of games. He came back in. And Joe Brodsky was screaming and hollering at Derek Glassick, the backup running back. And I said, Joe, hey, fine to coach Glassick, but, Emmitt Smith's going to be the guy out there playing. And Joe says, he's a veteran. He knows what to do. He'll be fine on Sunday. I said, wait a minute. just because he's a veteran, and just because you've been here and you're buddies now, like a lot of assistant coaches get with some of those older pro players, you stop pushing them. You got to demand it. And I told Bill, I said, you're the only guy that's got the hammer. You got to make sure that you demand that they get better.
Coach, I like that. You brought up how after you win a Super Bowl, things start to become a lot more about me, me, me. Well, let's pivot a little bit. Deshaun Watson, he's really exercising player mobility. It wasn't nearly as relevant when you were coaching and dominating. Do you have an issue with Deshaun Watson wanting out of Houston?
I've got a little bit of a problem with it. In that, I know he's upset. First of all, I'm upset with Houston that they let Hopkins get out of there. That should have never happened. And I think had he stayed, Watson might have been a little bit better off. But you look at it, you cannot let a franchise quarterback leave. Somehow, some way, David Culley's got to go in there and say, hey, put my ego aside. How can we work this out? What do you want? Well, how can we build this thing together? Somehow, some way, they've got to convince him to stay.
Now, Coach, you mentioned a franchise quarterback leaving. Well, Tom Brady, playing in his 10th Super Bowl, left New England. And as we were talking about Bill Belichick, we've been having this debate, this argument all week long. So settle it for us, if you could, Coach. Who deserves more credit in that dynasty, Bill Belichick or Tom Brady?
Well, I could settle it in a hurry right now. Tom Brady was a 7th-round pick out of Michigan. A lot of teams didn't even want him. I don't remember him being the greatest of all time coming out of Michigan. So somebody developed this quarterback. Somebody worked with him. Somebody molded this quarterback into the greatest of all time. Now, I don't know who did this. Now, Bill Belichick, the greatest coach of all time. I think he helped Tom Brady get to this point.
Wait a second now, Coach. You just made this show so much harder for me the next hour. But so let me ask you something. Let me ask you this. Now that Tom Brady has gone to a completely different coach that hasn't won or been to a Super Bowl as a head coach, is that not a slight indictment on the value Bill Belichick added to Tom Brady versus the value Tom Brady added to Bill Belichick, Coach?
Well, I think Bill Belichick, without question, people look at him and they know how disciplined he is. And they know how hard-driven he is. You look at Tom Brady, when he first went to the Buccaneers, they were a sloppy football team. Turned the ball over, lots of penalties. And you look at the Chicago game, they had 11 penalties against Chicago, lost by 1 point. And Brady goes to the sideline and is screaming and hollering. This is not the way you do it. The very next week, they had 0 offensive penalties. They beat Green Bay 38-10. So Tom Brady was taught the right way to do it.
That's good.
And I think he brought that championship discipline to Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He's the one that brought it down there because they were not a disciplined football team a year ago. They turned the ball over and had penalties. They're a disciplined football team right now. That's why they're in the Super Bowl.
Now, Coach, let's take you to a place where you're familiar, the Dallas Cowboys, and switch gears a little bit. And their quarterback situation. A lot of free agent quarterbacks out there, a lot of quarterbacks that are under contract potentially up for trade. Would you be interested in some of those quarterbacks, Aaron Rodgers, Matthew Stafford, et cetera, or stick with Dak Prescott?
Well, no. Let me have Aaron Rodgers. Or let me have
Dak?
Patrick Mahomes. You bet. They're both more talented than Dak. But you don't ever get rid of a quarterback or a player until you find somebody better.
Ooh, that's
and they're
good.
not going to get those guys. Now, they're never going to get those guys. They've got a great leader, that it's an outstanding quarterback that can win you a championship. Get him signed. They should have signed him 3 years ago. They should have signed him 2 years ago. They should have signed him this offseason, but they wanted 5 years rather than 4 years. They would have saved a lot of money had they signed him any one of those previous 3 years. get him signed. He's your quarterback.
Coach, let me ask you this, because this is a question that everybody's wondering. Dak Prescott this year was about 1-3. If you count the Giants game, he had 2 wins, 2 playoff appearances, 1 playoff win. If you're the coach or Jerry Jones, why are you so convinced that you can win a Super Bowl with Dak? Not saying you can't win a lot of games, but why is Jimmy Johnson convinced that Dak Prescott can win a Super Bowl?
Let's see, let me just think. Troy Aikman, as great a quarterback as he was, won 0 games his first year. Steve Walsh won 1 game. We were 1-15. Now, the next year, I gave him a little bit of a supporting cast, and we won 7. Had he not hurt his shoulder, we'd have been in the playoffs the second year. You know, and I sat down with Troy, and I said, Troy, I'm sorry you didn't make the Pro Bowl. He said, Coach, you keep bringing in players and giving me some talent around me. I'll make plenty of Pro Bowls. Now, we won our first Super Bowl. We were the youngest team in the league, and everybody talks about the triplets with Emmitt Smith and Michael Irvin and Troy Aikman. They went into the Hall of Fame. But we were number 1 in the NFL total defense. And so, you know, you look at Dak, yeah, he had a very mediocre record this year to start out. Because their defense, nobody could have won with that defense the way they played. So you got to have the right supporting cast for any quarterback to win.
Coach, obviously one of the greatest in Cowboys history, one of the greatest the game has seen. So let's talk coaches. Coaches, typically great coaches can come in and win instantly. At least you see winning traits and characteristics. Do you see that from Mike McCarthy, and do you think he's the right guy for that Cowboys head coaching job?
I think he is. I think time will tell.
Okay, so you're hesitant.
You looked at me and you said, oh, boy,
Hey, we've been in the locker room before, Coach. We know how Coach talks. Coach, you took a step back with that one. Don't get nervous, Coach. Yeah, you've been here before.
I did say time will tell. You know, I think he's got to straighten out that defense somehow.
Yeah.
I think he will be fine offensively. But, hey, until you do it, you really don't know.
Okay, well, Urban Meyer, let's talk about a coach we do know, and he has done it, but not at the pro level. Your thoughts on Urban Meyer in Jacksonville? Let you off the hook a little bit.
I think, yeah, you did. Thank you. I think he's in for a rude awakening. He talked to me, you know, we've obviously had a lot of conversations, but I said, hey, if you think college was a grind, you wait till you get in professional football, especially if you're handling personnel, which I did. You know, now a lot of pro coaches, they don't deal with personnel, so they got a little bit of a life after the season. If you're handling personnel plus you're the head coach, you have no life. And it would be foolish for Urban not to handle personnel because he knows all those great college players, so he should be handling the draft. But it's going to be around the clock 12 months out of the year. It's going to be a grind. Now, I think he's a great CEO. I think he's very smart, very passionate. He's got to get the right coaching staff, and he's got to bring in the talent. If he does that, they've got a chance to win.
Coach, I got one for you. Everybody, well, not everybody knows, but you and I know if you've played the game, college is different than pro. In college, you're kind of hurting these athletes. They're on scholarship checks. Head coach is now making $5-6 million. Head coach is a king. In the pros, the players often make more than the coach. What is the secret to having success at the college level and the pro level, which you had?
Well, I think in college, I found this out when I left the University of Miami and went to the Dallas Cowboys. The Dallas Cowboys had one of the greatest coaches of all time, Tom Landry and his staff. They had 3 straight losing seasons. They were 3-13, worse than the league. Well, it wasn't because of coaching. It was because of talent. And then I realized, you know, maybe I won all those games at Miami because I had better players than everybody. You know, now, and you look, Alabama, Ohio State, my wife Rhonda could win 10. You know, really, they don't need a coach. I mean, really, there's such a difference in the talent level in college. You know, like Steve Spurrier here, when he was at University of Florida, they could turn it over 5 or 6 times, and they were still going to beat them by 20. He went to Washington with the same style of offense. They turned it over, and they got beat by some of the worst teams in the league. So, I think, there's so little difference in professional teams that you have to play well every single week. And plus, the way the league is structured, parity is going to be in there with the draft and with free agency, with the salary cap. So it's a lot more difficult coaching in professional football than what it is in college. In college, if you happen to land one of those great jobs like University of Texas, you ought to win 10.
Now, Coach, we are so grateful to have you on our show, Speak for Yourself. We have a lot of personality on this show, so here's another one I need you to settle. Not your wife. I need you to be the coach on the draft clock once again. We just heard your first-round selection.
Okay.
You pick Aaron Rodgers over Dak Prescott. Let's go to the second round. You need some defense. You got Emmanuel Acho, linebacker from Texas. And then you got this unknown defensive end from Columbia, me, Marcellus Wiley. Who you drafting, Coach?
Well, I'll do the same thing that I did for Michael Strahan. I brought Strahan in, as one of my 20 visits right before the draft, and I said, hey, Michael, we want you. And I put a scout in his home day of the draft, and a scout is sitting there with Michael, and they're waiting, and Michael's saying, hey, I'm from Houston. I'm going to go to the Dallas Cowboys. He's watching the draft. And it says the Dallas Cowboys moved down in round 2 and pick up another pick in round 3. So the Giants drafted him. So if I was going to draft either of you guys, I would move down in the draft.
You're going to pick up Whitlock in the third round. That's all I heard right there. All right, Coach, last question right here. Michelob Ultra just pre-released a Super Bowl commercial that asks an interesting question. Are you happy because you win, or do you win because you're happy? You've won a lot, so what's your answer?
Well, it kind of struck a nerve because it kind of fits our deal. I said, hey, without question, I was happy when we won, but did we win because I was happy? And I know this. If I'm upbeat and positive and I'm happy, I'm a much better coach. And you're better on television when you're happy. Yeah. If you're all glum in one thing or another, you're not going to do as good a job. So, I think it's really a cool commercial. And the other thing, too, with Michelob Ultra, 95 calories and 2.6 carbs keeps me fit and healthy and active. So, hey, you got to stay healthy on top of that.
Oh, appreciate you so much, Coach. Thanks for coming on our show, making us happier and making this our best interview so far. Thanks, Coach. And Jimmy Johnson's brought to us.
Okay, I wouldn't have traded down to get you guys.
Yeah, right. Hey, look, put it this way. Second contract, I would have broke the salary cap anyway. That's how I ball, Coach. All right, Coach, appreciate you. Brought to us by Michelob Ultra. Much more Speak for Yourself after this.
Welcome back to Speak for Yourself. The Chiefs are a 3.5-point favorite against the Bucs, according to Fox Bet Sportsbook. Now, quarterback Patrick Mahomes already has a Super Bowl win and MVP trophy on his resume, but Tony Romo says his matchup against Tom Brady puts this game on another level. Take a listen.
This is the biggest game Patrick Mahomes will ever play in for the rest of his career. If the only way to catch Tom Brady, he has to win this game. If he loses this game, he cannot catch Tom Brady, in my opinion.
Now, there might be a little bit of fight promotion there.
Oh.
Because the game is on,
Romo?
I believe, the network that Tony Romo is there. So now that I'm actually watching it, I'm doing a little math there, Tony Romo. You ain't slick. You ain't slick trying to sell a fight. I respect it, though. Well done. But Marcellus, let's actually dissect it. Is this the biggest game Patrick Mahomes will ever play in?
Absolutely. And I'm saying it on Fox's network, and we're not covering the game, so you know I'm speaking from the heart. It really is, big dog, just because. Think about it. It's the biggest game of the year, but it's against the greatest player ever. So that takes it somewhere else. Like the Super Bowl is everyone's goal. We're trying to go there. Ultimate team accomplishment. But at the end of the year, there's a winner, there's a loser. But then this can mean much more than just a win in one Super Bowl game for Patrick Mahomes. And that's what Tony Romo is talking about. We're talking about his legacy. We're talking about the fact that all the other games, all the other Super Bowls he potentially will play in the future will add up to his greatness. But this game will help define his greatness. There's a big difference. I'm going to tell you why. You know why Patrick Mahomes right now is not going to his third Super Bowl in a row? because that guy, the GOAT, Tom Brady, said, nah, not yet, youngster. And then, because Tom Brady switched teams, went to a different conference, oh, okay. I see you, Patrick Mahomes. You won the Super Bowl last year, and this year I'm in a different conference. Now let's see each other at the pinnacle moment. Now, if you lose to Tom Brady in this moment, when he's the greatest player defined by his Super Bowl success, and he's the same reason why you didn't have the ultimate Super Bowl success just 2 years prior, what will you say? Let's just forecast. Even if you get to 6 rings, which is improbable, if not impossible, even if you get to 6 rings, what will you say? Oh, but you would have had more if you would beat Tom Brady. In the simplest terms, let me say this. This is Michael Jordan playing LeBron. Mm-hmm. If we ever had that matchup in the finals, no matter what you say beyond that, no matter who you beat, what other matchups you can forecast, nothing will define it more than this matchup.
My dog, you spitting, you better put on a mask, big dog. You out here spitting these facts.
Give him the gas face.
I'm going to say this. You said so many things so eloquently. I'm not here to detract nothing. I just want to add to your brilliance from that last little bit. This is a lose-lose for Patrick Mahomes in which he has to find a way to win.
Oh.
Because Patrick Mahomes, if you lose to Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes, you lost to a 43-year-old Tom Brady. He wasn't even in his prime. Patrick Mahomes, if and when you beat Tom Brady, he's only 43, so you really shouldn't have beat him anyway. But Patrick Mahomes, you have a chance to remove all doubt where there may be doubt. We're going to have these conversations in 15, 20 years. Mahomes, you'll be 45, 40. Tom Brady, you'll be in his 60s. And we're going to be debating, hopefully, still on this show. We're going to be debating, man, who was better, Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes? But we won't have to argue because it'll be black and white. Boom. We'll have an answer. Like you and I did an hour ago, debating the roster. What do we finally agree on? They equal.
Yeah.
Like they equal.
They
Receivers,
right
tight ends, they right neck and neck.
Yep.
So it's not as though we're going to be saying, well, Patrick Mahomes had Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce. No. Tom Brady had Mike Evans and Chris Godwin and Gronkowski. Everything's so equal that we're really, really going to be able to say the better quarterback won the game. And yes, Tom Brady's older, so he's at a disadvantage. But when it comes to these nitty-gritty arguments, we're not going to be deducing that. We're simply going to say the better quarterback won the game. So for that reason, it is the biggest game of Mahomes' career, unless they play each other again. Because we always argue, at least I think about the hypotheticals. What would have happened if LeBron James was on those Bulls teams? Would he have ever retired? Yeah. Would he have won 8 in a row?
Yeah.
Would he have won 5 out of the 6?
Yeah.
You won. What would have happened if Jordan was down 3-1 to the Cavs? Oh, well, he never would have been down 3-1. But if he was down 3, we always play these mind games. We don't got to do that anymore. Mahomes, Brady, equally matched teams. All the legacy conversations will be answered on that matchup.
Yeah, you take it from the hypothetical to the real.
Yes.
And the real is happening next week. But let's get real right now. Bring back Fox NFL analyst Bucky Brooks. Bucky, you agree with Tony Romo that this will be the biggest game Patrick Mahomes will ever play in?
You know what, man? Like, here's what I want to do right now. I want to grab a Welch's grape and a honey bun, because I feel like I'm in the barbershop listening to you guys debating over this nonsense about this is the biggest game of Patrick Mahomes' life, because if he doesn't beat Tom Brady, what are we going to do? Do we say the same thing about Eli Manning, because Eli Manning is 2-0 against Tom Brady in the Super Bowl? Do we call Eli Manning the GOAT? No. We still call Tom Brady the GOAT, and he lost to him twice. When Tom Brady lost to mighty Nick Foles, are we taking any tarnish off of his legacy because he lost to Nick Foles? No. It's about stacking them up. Pat Mahomes is going to have an opportunity to stack up and maybe rival the 6 titles that Tom Brady has. If he wins, if he loses, it doesn't stop, because they're in the midst of a dynasty. And in fact, I would say sometimes you show more if you do lose and if you can get your team back to the winner's circle. Now, I don't expect the Chiefs to lose this game, but I do not believe that this is the biggest game of his career and that nothing can be changed if he loses to Tom Brady. I think we tune in because we like seeing great competitors compete at the highest level, but make no mistakes, win, lose, or draw, Patrick Mahomes is going to be in that conversation as the GOAT, because he's going to stack them up just like Tom Brady has.
Bucky, why you got to come in here with all this reason, all this sense?
Because I felt like I was waiting on my high top fade to go, and I was like, what? Like, what are we talking about?
Hey, Bucky's so deceiving. He's so deceiving because I ain't know he be in barbershops. But as soon as he said honey buns, you going to find honey buns, you going to find powdered donuts, you going to find grandma's cookies.
Powdered donuts.
It's going to be in somebody's little stack, and they 50 cents each. I'm telling you right now, they 50 cents each. Don't ask for no change. You better have 2 quarters. You better have 2 quarters. Anyway, Bucky, I rock with you, Bucky Brooks, man, for real. You got to remember, though, when you're talking Brady and when you're talking Mahomes, Mahomes is going to reach the criteria that put him in the conversation with Brady, that the only way we can really delineate between the greatness is a head-to-head. Think about it, like, we don't say, is Dwayne Wade better than Jordan? Because he didn't hit certain criteria, although he was great. You know, some people try to bring up Kareem. Some people even try to bring up, like, Magic or Bird. But when you just talk about individual talent, it's like, you know what, we got Jordan there and we're going to put LeBron there. So how are we going to deduce between their greatness because they're both individually the same level of talent? Well, I wish we could go head-to-head. So, Bucky, I feel you when you bring up your Eli beat Brady and Foles beat Brady, but those dudes aren't on the same level. Mahomes is going to be on the same level. He'll win individual MVPs. He'll win all pros. He'll win player of the years, whatever the case may be. So now it really is going to come down to what happened head-to-head in the biggest game.
Yeah, Acho said it, man. Look, being real, Bucky, we're out here being weathermen and weathermen in a sense, splitting the hairs before we have to, because you got to qualify to even get in the GOAT conversation, and Eli Manning didn't qualify, like Acho said. So what we're saying is we know Patrick Mahomes is going to stack them up. And Tom Brady already has stacked them up. So let's just say 10, 20 years from now, where we're all in the barbershop really looking like Coming to America 6 or 7. I don't know which one it'll be on. But the point is, what we going to say? Man, Patrick Mahomes has 6. Well, Tom Brady has 6 too. Well, when they faced each other, and then everybody going to get quiet and everybody going to get their hair cut. So we're already trying to project to that moment. It's just as simple as that. I like Acho's other point, though. How can Patrick Mahomes win in this situation? Like, it's a lose-lose almost, as he stated earlier, but there is a way to win. Can he son Tom Brady? Like, beating Tom Brady at 43, I don't think it's going to have the same effect as it should. Because you beat Tom Brady, then people are going to start saying, well, Tom Brady first year there. Oh, Tom Brady 43. Oh, Tom Brady just learned the system. Like, I can hear them softening that blow already. But can you son your dad, basically? You know, don't be a menace to South Central while drinking the juice in the hood. Can you have a daddy that is younger than you? Can your son your daddy? That's the question we're asking Patrick Mahomes. Can he?
Okay, so if I'm listening to you and I'm trying to take both of you guys' conversation, debate, I'm trying to put this in. So we want Patrick Mahomes to son Tom Brady. So basically, we want him to be Larry Holmes taking on Muhammad Ali with the mustache. That's basically what we want him to do. We want him to knock out the old Tom Brady so we'll feel better about himself. Even though we clearly can see that Patrick Mahomes right now is superior than an old Tom Brady. We need him to knock him through the ropes so we can say, yeah, man, I told you Patrick Mahomes is one of the greatest. He is the greatest that we've ever seen at this position. And I will say this, though, because I think this is interesting, because if Tom Brady loses, he would have won 6 out of 10. But if Patrick Mahomes loses, Tom Brady wins 7 out of 10 or whatever. But Pat Mahomes goes and wins 7 out of 8. Does that now change it because the one that he lost went to Tom Brady? I just don't think this is one where we can decide it off of one game between Pat Mahomes and Tom Brady.
Oh, Bucky, it ain't just one game, dog. See, I'm in the barbershop, too. I ain't getting my hair cut, but I'm in there to chime in to tell you, hey, don't forget, in the AFC Championship game, too, Tom Brady scored. Hey, it wasn't Patrick Mahomes' fault, but that's how it goes in the barbershop. We ain't trying to hear reason and logic all the way. Having them powder donuts on your lips cracked up. You like sitting there, boy, you've been smoking that pipe. Here's the thing. You can't say this to Patrick Mahomes. Look, man, you can't sit there and say you the GOAT in 20 years, and you couldn't even slay the biggest dragon, the GOAT, Tom Brady. It's this simple. I've seen this happen. You talked about Larry Holmes and Muhammad Ali. Let's bring it to current times. Let's talk about Canelo Alvarez, the great Canelo, who had to go against Floyd Mayweather. And Floyd caught him. Some say too early, but the point is, Canelo, you shouldn't sign up for it, because now Canelo, in his greatness, no matter how high he gets, box office numbers, all the belts, Everybody always hits him with that sucker punch. But what about Floyd? And Floyd's going to retire. He is retired. We don't know what these exhibitions are. Point is, Tom Brady one day is going to dip. And then Tom Brady going to be Canelo. Talking about, I did this, I did this, I did this. And they're like, but there's a Tom Brady. Same way Canelo hears about Floyd Mayweather.
I'm not going to lie, fellas. I was rocking with y'all's argument. Bucky, you threw some blows. You threw some haymakers. Marcellus came back with a good right hook. Bucky, you went back with a left jab. But I got distracted. Because as soon as y'all started talking about sonning your dad, I was like, how is that possible? So I'm over here trying to deduce, okay, if you marry the mother of your stepmother, then in theory, your dad would also be your son. So I'm not going to lie. I don't know who won that round. I don't know if it was Canelo. I don't know if it was Floyd. But I do know this. If you marry your stepmother's mother, then yes, your dad would in fact be your son. For those watching at home.
Hey, I tell you, it's a simpler way. Watch the movie we're talking about. Don't be a minute to South Central while drinking your juice in the hood. It explains it all in comedic detail. My last point is this. Look, I ain't done with this. Since he all got lost and we all get it. You can't lose to the team with the most losses in NFL history. Oh, excuse me. The most losses in sports franchise history. And then call yourself the GOAT when the GOAT beats you, not only in the AFC Championship game, but in the Super Bowl. I'm just trying to save Patrick Mahomes from being called Canelo Alvarez in them streets. Fox Super 6 has given away nearly $4 million in 2 Ford F-150s already. Should give me one for that take just now. Download the Fox Super 6 app and enter the Super Bowl contest for your chance to win $250,000 of Terry Bradshaw's money. All you need to do is pick 6 outcomes in this Super Bowl. It's completely free to play, and for top stories, scores, and more, go to the Fox Sports app. Coming up, there's a new coaching staff in Philly. Oh, Acho's happy. We'll tell you if the Eagles are out on Carson Wentz. That's next. Speak for yourself. Welcome back to Speak for Yourself. The Eagles had a rough 2020 season, finishing last in the NFC least, while also creating a quarterback controversy. Carson Wentz is coming off his worst season in the league and was replaced by rookie Jalen Hurts for the Eagles' last 4 games. Philly's new head coach, Nick Sirianni, had his intro press conference today, and of course, he was asked about Wentz's future with the team. Take a listen.
Did you take this job with the stipulation or the expectation that Carson Wentz is your quarterback next season?
We have 2 quarterbacks in Carson Wentz and Jalen Hurts that are top-notch. They're top-notch quarterbacks, and a lot of teams don't have any. And so just really excited to work with both of them.
Can you tell us one way or the other whether Carson Wentz will be back with the Eagles next year?
Yeah, I can't answer that.
Bucky is back. But Acho, you think the Eagles are out on Carson Wentz? Ooh, what was that?
This is me controlling the puppet.
Oh, he's doing a man like that, man. Damn.
Controlling the puppet. First and foremost, how you gonna lie in your first press conference?
Yeah, coach.
I love the Eagles more than anybody. And neither Carson Wentz nor Jalen Hurts have proven to be top-notch quarterbacks right now.
Facts.
And you finna come out here and say, we have 2 quarterbacks that are top-notch and some teams don't have any. Come on, Coach.
Coach.
You ain't got to lie to kick it. But let's be real. But secondly, Carson Wentz is going to be one of 2 places next year. You heard it here first. You probably heard it a couple places. Either the Philadelphia Eagles or the Indianapolis Colts. We know this. We've all said it before, but now the breadcrumb has turned into a whole loaf. Nick Sirianni, head coach for the Eagles. Frank Wright, head coach for the Colts. Where did Sirianni come from? He came from the Colts where he was the OC under Frank Wright. All y'all already know Frank Wright was the OC when Carson Wentz dominated when the Eagles won the Super Bowl. But Sirianni and Frank Wright have worked together in incredibly high capacity. When Frank Wright was the quarterback coach for the Chargers, Sirianni, he was a quality control person. Frank Wright became the OC, offensive coordinator for the Chargers. Sirianni became the QB coach. Frank Wright becomes the head coach for the Colts. Sirianni becomes the offensive coordinator. Now Frank Wright, head coach, Sirianni, head coach. They've worked together at incredibly high capacities. I think the highest capacity we'll see them work together is to work up a trade for Carson Wentz. Why? Because at this junction in time, Sirianni, you just came over and you really non-committal. You heard Robert Saleh go to the Jets. Sam Darnold's one of the best quarterbacks this game has seen. We're very confident in Sam Darnold. You heard a head coach for the Texans come in, put a stamp behind, I came to Houston because I know Deshaun Watson's going to be here. But now you, Sirianni, can't answer if Carson Wentz, $130 million Carson Wentz is your guy. That doesn't bode well for Carson Wentz's future in Philly.
Well, you just said the Jets, and they lying, too, about Sam Darnold a little bit. Nah, I like you, Sam Darnold, but not as much as they do, obviously, with that press conference. Stop lying. Everybody got to lie in their press conference. Interesting, before I get to my take, I like that whole Sirianni and it turned breadcrumb to a loaf. I love that because this is conjecture, but let's just walk down this alley right here. Hey, Frank Reich, I'm getting an interview in Philadelphia. You hook me up with the recommendation and the phone call. Oh, sure, big dog. Go over there. You know I'm going to make this thing look amazing. Just do one thing. Tell me how Carson Wentz still looking. Because, by draft day, I'm talking about hook your boy up. If I'm going to hook you up, that's the favor you could do for me. Interesting nugget there. We'll see how that plays out. That said, Carson Wentz, you're in trouble, bro. You are in trouble because you were a franchise quarterback that now has a head coach that can't even tell us the truth because you know why? He knows the truth, and he wants to keep you protected from the media, from the public, and handle his business quietly. Why do I know this? There's a connection I have to Brian Johnson, who is now the new OC in Philadelphia. You want to know what that connection is? Dan Mullen. Who's Dan Mullen? Head coach at the University of Florida, who used to be the coach at Columbia University with me, along with Chip Kelly. You respect that, Acho? You ain't got to go to UT to have big-time coaching, as I did at Columbia. All that said, do you know who Brian Johnson also is? Basically the uncle to Jalen Hurts. Been knowing Jalen Hurts since he was 4 years old.
That's one of them black uncles, though. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's not really blood.
Like my auntie Brenda across the street. Yeah, used to hook us up to crab cakes.
They watched it at home. Hey, wait a second. Hey, Brian Johnson is related to Jalen Hurts. You got to put him on game, Sal. Put him on. It's not really an uncle. Like, we say it's somebody uncle, but we don't really mean like uncle.
Hold on. I'm looking at all these faces. Y'all know what uncle means.
What about the people at home?
Okay, well, the people at home got to know that my uncle and my auntie Brenda were closer than my real uncle and my real aunties. I'm just giving you that. He's the QB coach there now. Brian Johnson is employed to see if Carson Wentz got it or Jalen Hurts, who he's been recruited at Mississippi State, didn't get him, but always keeping his tabs on Jalen Hurts. Man, it's a wrap for Carson Wentz, big dog. He may go to Indy, I don't know, but mentally, I think that they have already said it is Carson Wentz's job to prove to us that he wants this job. Because right now, we're going to set our sights and our focus on our nephew. Jalen Hurts.
No, I actually think, look, I know I've gone against Carson Wentz all fall, but I believe that this is all about Carson Wentz. They hired Nick Sirianni because they wanted to fix Carson Wentz. When you listen to the press from Jeffrey Lurie, back in the day, he talked about it behooves us to make sure that we fix the quarterback. And so the last time we saw Carson Wentz play at his best was in 2017. Frank Reich was the offensive coordinator. Now, he wasn't calling plays. Doug Peterson would call him plays, but he was the guy that was next to Carson Wentz, and he made him feel comfortable. And so in Jeffrey Lurie's mind, he's like, well, I want that Carson back. How can I get that Carson? Oh, Frank Reich. Well, if I can't get Frank Reich, you know what I'm going to get? I'm going to get Frank Reich Jr. And so that's what he brought. He brought Jr. over to fix Carson Wentz. And even though it was uncomfortable at the press conference and he couldn't name it, this was all about Carson Wentz. And I understand Brian Johnson coming over, and he is a well-established quarterback guru, and he's going to do a great job with Jalen Hurts, getting him ready to do those package plays that he'll probably do. But this move and everything that the Eagles have done since the end of the season was done with Carson Wentz in mind. Nick Sirianni is there to fix Carson Wentz because he's really Frank Reich Jr.
Fellas, this whole situation has gotten so convoluted. Y'all remember that song, Same Girl Remix? Y'all remember that? Y'all remember that? T-Pain? Someone who can't remain named because we've canceled him beyond cancellation in the culture. So another person.
Who, R. Kelly?
Okay, Marcellus.
Man, you ain't canceling nobody around me. Y'all just don't buy his album. I do.
Look, in the Same Girl Remix, everybody realized that everybody was playing each other. Because, Marcellus, you just put me on game. I thought Sirianni was a puppet for the Eagles, but he might be a covert operative for Frank Reich. Real talk. The only reason Nick Sirianni got hired was because Jeffrey Lurie and Howie Roseman called Frank Reich. Hey, you like Sirianni? Yeah, I do like Sirianni. He would make for a great head coach. Now, he's over there, like Marcellus just said, he can report back. Deal me Carson Wentz. But wait a second, Sirianni just wants a head coaching job. He's telling everybody he can make Carson Wentz the Carson Wentz of old. But Pete, this is a nugget that Marcellus alluded to. I'm going to give you the quote. Brian Johnson, now the QB coach for the Eagles. He said,
Uncle Brian Johnson. Yeah.
Uncle Brian Johnson.
Yeah.
So Marcellus says Uncle Brian Johnson was a player when Jalen Hurts' dad was a coach on the same team. Mm-hmm. That's where all the relations come from. Brian Johnson has known Jalen Hurts since Jalen Hurts was 4 years old back in Texas. So Brian Johnson says last spring, before Jalen Hurts is even in contention to be a starter, you never see him sweat talking about Jalen Hurts. I do think he and Dak have similarities in their game, not only in their games, but in their approach and in their mindset. So Brian Johnson is now on the Eagles staff talking about Jalen Hurts in past, saying you see a lot of Dak Prescott in him. Brian Johnson coached Dak Prescott when Brian Johnson and Dak Prescott were at Mississippi State. So all of this is one big convoluted triangle. I'm not sure how it lands out, but it looks like Carson Wentz might be the odd man out.
I told you. That's what I said. Carson Wentz, you in trouble, bro. It's on you to prove that you can get this job back. Because right now, if you're reading the tea leaves, they're suggesting otherwise. Oh, how the mighty have fallen. Oh, Carson Wentz, number 2 overall pick, now needs the guy who worked with Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott, 4th rounder, Carson Wentz, number 2 overall, to come fix you, Carson Wentz. Oh, and that guy just happens to be the uncle of your competition. Boy, you in trouble. Let me tell you why you're also in trouble. Because you have regressed in completion percentage, passing yards per game, and passer rating each of the last 2 seasons. Let me give you some other guys, because sometimes we get lost in the forest. Some other guys who regressed in those same major categories and how it turned out for them. Eli Manning, 2011 through 2013, regressed to the same categories. He ended up going 32-51 for the rest of his career. Yuck. Jeff Garcia, my dog, when I played, he did the same thing. He never had another 8-win season in his career after that regression. Boomer Esiason, like when Bucky played with the leather helmets, went 29-51 after he went through that same regression. Boy, stop. In the last 8 years, there's only been one quarterback that led the league in interceptions, and the next year, he came back and did something.
Brett Favre?
Phillip Rivers. And where did Phillip Rivers play last year? Oh, my God. Indianapolis. That's your only saving grace, that Nick Sirianni is going to fight for you, Carson Wentz, but it's going to be tough to get through those bloodlines with the uncle over there coaching your competition.
Look, man, this sounds nice, and it's great that you guys have connected all the dots, and we talked about going to the candy. We talked about going to the candy house in the neighborhood where you knock on the back door and you can get the now laters and the sweet tarts because it's your uncle and all that, and get the pickle with the Coke and all that. Like, all that's great. And Jalen Hurts and Brian Johnson will be able to do all that, but they're going to do that while Carson Wentz is taking the first team reps, because the money, follow the money. They're too tied into Carson Wentz right now to just let him go. So at the worst, he's going to get an opportunity to start the year as the Eagles quarterback. And if he plays his way out of being the starting quarterback like he did this year, then Jalen Hurts will get that. But based on the money, I love Jalen Hurts and what he was able to flash. But Carson Wentz is on the inside track to get the starting job. It was all about Carson Wentz. He is going to get an opportunity to let Frank Wright Jr. put his hands on him and fix him.
So I just got a question, Big Dog.
I got an answer, Big Dog.
Who's Sherlock Holmes and who's Dr. Watson here? Because it appears you and I have figured out this mystery of what's really going on in Philly. I feel like I should be Sherlock because everybody knows about Sherlock, and Dr. Watson just kind of sits in anonymity. Can we negotiate that?
Negotiator, you stole what I said and then added one layer that I didn't say because I already knew it, and I thought y'all knew it. Now you want to be the main character? Go ahead, Alto. Ain't nothing changed in real life from you and then this take right here. I got to end this, Bucky. The money, $59 million in dead cap if they want to cut Carson Wentz. He going to get a chance, but damn, I don't know if it's going to work out because you know what? Uncle knows best. Coming up, Zeke did not eat enough last season. We'll tell you if his best days are behind him. That's next. Speak for yourself.
Welcome back to Speak for Yourself. Ezekiel Elliott did not look like a 2-time rushing champion this season. Zeke finished with the fewest rushing yards in his career, and he had the most fumbles lost amongst all running backs. Despite the down year, Cowboys legend, and I mean legend, Emmitt Smith says, we have not seen the best of Zeke. Adding, quote, I do believe that Zeke will be better for what he had gone through this year. So, Marcellus.
Yeah.
No, I ain't believing it. But are Zeke's best days behind him?
Yes, they're behind him. And, You don't want to take my word for it because a lot of people think that I'm so objective that I'm actually a hater. And it's weird because I didn't know that this world was so subjective. I didn't know that the world caved to how you felt. My daddy did a good job. Damn it, I'm going to say it to my 73-year-old daddy. Happy you day, Daddy, because you are an amazing man. My daddy, I swear, growing up, I used to hate my daddy at times because he never took my side. Like, something happened at school, I'll be like, Daddy, I tell a story, and I'm trying to already tell the story in my terms so I can look favorable. And my daddy just sit there and shake his head like, right from wrong is all I'm going to discuss in this conversation. Emmett, I love you, big dog, and you try to talk this up for your boy Zeke, but right from wrong, and this conversation is all I'm going to highlight and illustrate. Here's some numbers on Zeke in terms of the regression before I even get into what's really going on. 2016, 108 yards rushing per game. Fast forward, every year decline all the way to now, 65. Every year decline. 2016, yards per carry, 5.1. 4.0 right now. Had his worst season by far this year. So Emmett says, because he knows running backs, he knows the running back position, and he knows Zeke. He's probably like, man, he had COVID before the season. You know what? A lot of things happen, new coach, all that. He's going to be different. But then, damn it, Emmett, my daddy came to mind, and my daddy told me, listen to Emmett again. And I said, okay, let me listen. And Emmett's my dad's favorite player. He says this in a sentence, and I quote, prime Zeke and Tony Pollard. That's a great 1-2 punch. Oh, Emmett, you just told on yourself, dog. Because, Emmett, if I ever talking about you and your greatness and that you were still great, mention your backup in the same sentence with you, you would know that you are in decline. You don't even get in the picture. When they take the team pictures, Acho, when I used to be on the cover of the game day program or on the tickets and all that stuff, there was a time where it was just me, Marcellus, on the ticket of the Raider game. And then there was a time where they're like, hey, can we get the whole D-line group together? You know why? Because I was doing this. When the photographer says I need a group shot, it means ain't nobody standing out in that group. I'm sorry, Emmett, you told on yourself by your response and support of Ezekiel Elliott that him with someone else is going to be a good sit.
That's a good take. I'm going to build on that take. You know what's so good about it is, Sel, when there's an elite running back, you don't even really know the backup's name.
Boom.
Like, think about it. Saquon Barkley, had he not gotten hurt, we wouldn't really have known who was running the ball for the Giants. McCaffrey, he don't get hurt. We don't really know what's going down in Carolina, right? Like Emmitt Smith, I vaguely remember because I lived in Dallas. I'm like, it was a dude bigger than him, but I don't really remember his name. So that's the first take. But now let's dive a little bit deeper because that's what we do on this show.
You're an outcast.
Even if Zeke's talent was ascending, his opportunity would be declining. Therefore, his output would diminish. Even if his talent was ascending, opportunity would decline. Therefore, his output would diminish. So his best days would still be behind him. Remember, y'all, when Zeke got drafted, #1, first round, that is, top 5 pick, he was with a aging or elderly Jason Witten. He was with an injured and aging Dez Bryant. He was with a injured Tony Romo, which turned into starting a 4th-round pick Dak Prescott, and a underutilized Cole Beasley. So Zeke had to be the feature guy. That's all we got. But look at the Cowboys now.
Hello.
You have a $100 million Amari Cooper. You have a 1st-round pick CeeDee Lamb, and you have a $37 million on the tag or $200 million off the tag on the team, Dak Prescott. Zeke, even if your talent is still ascending, big dog, your opportunity is out the window because now they got other mouths to feed and other mouths that are bigger priorities than you. So I'm not going to say that Zeke's most talented days are behind him, but I am going to say that Zeke's best days are behind him because your best is a combination of your talent plus opportunity. They say what luck is. Luck is preparation meeting opportunity. Well, output is talent meeting opportunity. Zeke, you gonna miss an aspect of that equation.
Damn, man, we over here frying this dude, and I hope he makes me eat my words. But
you're not even critical. Like, you're not even being...
Look.
Not even being critical.
Look, I would eat my words because they taste good, because what I'm saying right now is very truthful, and it's on you. The onus is on Zeke to change the narrative about him and his production. That said, I don't even trust Zeke in his words. I remember when Zeke this year, going through his regression, and Dak gets hurt, and then he's supposed to step up as a leader. And then he goes and professes that he would never even fumble again. I was like, don't make that promise. And you know what he did? He just fumbled twice in 3 plays. The next game after Dak, and I was just like, Zeke, Right now is not the time for you to go out there and try to profess your leadership and what you're not going to do. What you need to do is just ball out and be a leader by example. But this is a bad situation, man. Tony Pollard should be feeling himself. Mm-hmm. The Dallas Cowboys organization should be looking at Tony Pollard in a different light, a greater light. And you know what's going to happen? This happened to me, man, coming down the hill. I swear, Zeke, you know Zeke likes to live. Zeke gonna go to the club this offseason, and somebody gonna run up on him like, you play for the Cowboys, right? And he was, what number are you again? That's when you know it's almost a wrap. Zeke, don't let it happen, bro. Let's change it up. Coming up, Big Ben comes with a bigger price tag than he wants and that the team desires. We'll tell you if the Steelers should want their quarterback back. That's next. Speak for yourself. Welcome back. Ben Roethlisberger has a huge salary cap hit next season at just over $41 million. Team president Art Rooney II said they have left the door open for him to return, but it cannot be with his current contract. Boom. Big Ben said he does not care about his pay, adding, quote, I am pretty sure I want to go one more year because I think I can do it and give us a real chance at winning. All right, Ben, say it with your chest. So, Acho, should the Steelers want Big Ben back? Oh.
The first thing I'm going to say is, Ben, you sound desperate. Stop letting your desperation show. You know what I'm saying? Like, if something I'll play for whatever. Just let me stay here. Just let me stay around. It's like, you sound desperate, big dog. Cover that up. Should they want him back? Yes, in a limited role. I've said this before. I'll say it again. This is my stance on this take. They should want him back to develop the future. But you can't have him back in any sort of Tom Brady long-term capacity. Like, you look in the division itself. Joe Burrow, one of the best, if not the best rookie quarterback or young quarterbacks, Justin Herbert bald. Then you got Baker Mayfield. He actually looks like he's about to be a dude. You got Lamar Jackson, who's already proven he's a dude. And all them cats is about 26 or younger, maybe even 25 or younger. I think Baker Mayfield is the oldest, followed by Burrow, followed by Lamar Jackson. So if you're the Steelers, you better start developing youth because the rest of your division is about to sprint away from you, Usain Bolt style. However, you do know this. Even the greatest, like Patrick Mahomes, he came in and there was an Alex Smith. Tom Brady, he came in, there was a Bledsoe. Aaron Rodgers, he came in, there was a Brett Favre. Like, the great young quarterbacks typically come in and there is somebody who they can learn from, study under the tutelage of, if you will. So that would behoove you. That would behoove the Steelers organization for Ben Roethlisberger to stick around. Even if Ben Roethlisberger isn't going to teach a younger quarterback verbally, at least you can watch his actions and hopefully garner some greatness from that.
Oh, man. Look, they shouldn't want him back. The desperation aside, that was pretty bad right there from Ben. Certainly he means within a reason, within a certain number range, because you're not playing for free, Big Ben. You do have representation. I understand what you're saying. But the Steelers have made this really clear how they feel about Big Ben. One, if you watch the press conference, they asked Mr. Rooney bluntly, do you want Big Ben back? He gave us that Jimmy Johnson pause. Okay. And then when I heard that pause, I was like, one second. That's all you got to hear. You told me enough through that response. That said, you know, another reason they don't want him back is because they're trying to turn the page from Big Ben, not just in salary cap, not just in production, but also in terms of leadership. We've talked about all the issues that have come over the years in Pittsburgh. And there's been one common denominator in terms of leadership, Big Ben. The same guy. You just said, funny enough, develop the next quarterback and Ben Roethlisberger in the same sentence. Boy, stop. When I can look at even Ben saying after 2018, I lacked in leadership. When Hines Ward in 2019 had to question Ben's leadership. Like, this sheet right here, y'all see all that? That's all littered with questionable Ben leadership comments and quotes. Let's talk about who was Ben Roethlisberger last year. 31st in NFL in terms of yards per attempt. That's pretty bad, big dog. Let's talk about Ben Roethlisberger, who's lost his last 3 playoff games and hasn't been back since 2016. If you're not going to groom the next one, big dog, and your production is at this level and you're costing that much, why would they want to bring him back?
You know, what I'll say is this. Let's take it one step further, because I understand not bringing him back. I'm saying bringing him back in a limited role. Let's get to the real issue. No. The real point is, Big Ben, don't make this get ugly. Sal, let me speak from experience. There's nothing worse than when you're like forced to break up with somebody who won't go like quietly and peacefully.
Dan, what you been through? What do you mean forced? You forced to break up?
You know what I'm saying?
What is she do?
It's Friday, okay? It's Friday.
Talk to me. I'm listening.
It's like, you know this ain't gonna work.
Yeah.
I know this ain't gonna work. You know it's not in your best interest. You know it's not in my best interest.
Yeah.
Let's just have one quick, amicable phone call. Fine, I'll do it in person. I'd rather just text you and end it. But let's just have one quick, amicable conversation. Big Ben, you already know what it is, big dog. Like, you know they don't really want you there.
Yeah.
You're sitting here saying, I'll play for whatever. I'll play for free. Just take me back.
Ooh, can I get some of these?
Don't do
ribs?
it, Ben. Just let it go. Just let it go peacefully.
You pay top dollar for the things you want. I mean, I have before paid above asking price because I didn't want to wait and I didn't want nobody else to get it, and I had to have it. And that scale, you only go down in price based on desire. If they don't desire you, watch how much they're going to offer you. Ben, clean it up, big dog. Coming up, Uncle Jimmy joins us, and he's got a lot to get off his chest about Acho. Yes, this will be fun. Next, speak for yourself. Now, somebody forced you to break up. Uncle Jimmy is here. The week is coming to an end, but not before Uncle Jimmy says some things about you, Acho.
What up?
Get him on. Go for his head.
Hey, man, this is exactly what Chappelle meant when he said they never should have gave y'all money. Because Acho, you done changed.
How?
Yes.
Hey, man, I remember when you first started here, you was a meek and humble dude. You used to say things like, Marcellus, let me make myself abundantly clear.
Yes.
Hey, Wiley, did I hear this dude today say, yo, man, I walked into my old lady's house and I saw a picture of Michael B. Jordan. Man, I crumbled them stuffs up. I told her, I said, girl, get that stuff out of here. I'm the sexiest man alive. I told her straight up, Big Sally, she better ask Oprah about me. Hey, man, you see how money changed people?
Yep.
This dude can't beat up Jake from State Farm, and now he already want to go beat up Killmonger. And you better go sit your ass down somewhere. Damn.
Hey, Unc, the money ain't changed me, Unc. I just got comfortable.
It just brought it out of him, Unc. Come on, man.
Okay. All right, I want to see the video. You messing with Wallace. You ought to be ashamed of yourself.
Hey, get him, Unc. He can't mess with me. That's all right, but hey, I'm glad that finally
They
America
never should have
knows.
gave y'all money.
Hey, Acho has changed. Some for the better, some for not. But all that said, he better not mess with the Black Panther. He gonna get his butt. That's it for us. Have a great weekend.